Time for another Bears Now mailbag. I'm Harrison Graham. Raging Bear, would you fire Shane Waldron right now? I mean, look, I'm hot about how this offense has looked. I'm not happy about it. But realistically, I'm not firing him 3 games in. I just would not do that. I look at these next 3 weeks. If it's more the same going into the bye week, I think it's justifiable by then. I just don't think firing an OC 3 games in with a rookie quarterback is a winning solution. Now, Matt Eberflus could feel desperate in a couple weeks. He could say, my job's on the line, and I'd rather roll with Thomas Brown or someone else calling the plays if it continues to be putrid. And that's the question. Can the offense improve? I think Caleb has improved. That's a good sign. The running game has gone the other way. It's been bad from the beginning, and it's gotten worse throughout the last couple of weeks. Can that improve? Can the offensive line play and scheme improve? Because there's too many plays where it's like, why are you blocking that guy? And why is this guy, why are they double teaming here and leaving a tight end on an island with a premier pass rush? Like, that type of stuff has to get cleaned up. And obviously, guys just have to play better, too. You know, you got to execute. So, I think it's probably a little too early, even though it's fun. Not fun, but it's easy to say, like, just fire them all. But we could be entering that pretty soon. And hopefully that doesn't have to be the case. Comment below, should Shane Waldron be on the hot seat already? Type Y for yes, type in for no. That's a fair thing to say yes. I would consider saying yes here. Should he be on the hot seat? Probably. Fired already, 3 games in. I mean, I don't think anyone's been more frustrated than me by what I've seen, but I just don't know what you're going to do 3 games into this thing. Aaron Hauser, O-line idea. First of all, appreciate the super. Kiran Amegadjie at left tackle. Matt Pryor at left guard. Doug Kramer at center. Tevin Jenkins at right guard. Darnell Wright at right tackle. Don't change anything until after the bye week to let them get some chemistry. So you're saying go to this 4-5 this week and play them the next 3 weeks? I think we saw yesterday, clearly Amegadjie's making progress because he was active, but the one play Braxton Jones missed, they did not put Amegadjie in at left tackle. They slid Matt Pryor to left tackle, and Nate Davis played a play at right guard. Now, Jones only missed the one play. He was fine. But I think a more realistic one, Aaron, is flipping Pryor and Tevin. I still think Tevin's a better right guard than left guard. And if he's the higher level player, and if Pryor is just kind of a plug and play guy, well, then put Tevin Jenkins at right guard and have him and Darnell Wright play next to each other. I would do that. As far as Doug Kramer goes, Coleman Shelton's not very good, so I wouldn't be opposed to trying Doug Kramer. I do wonder if a more realistic thought is, do they give Ryan Bates a look at center once he is off of IR? Do they try that? He hasn't played a ton of it, but obviously he was competing for the job. We'll see. He's on IR for 2 more weeks. Rolly's neckbeard, is Swift already a cut candidate after 1 season? I don't think so, because you can't save that much money if you cut him. I'll look at the numbers just to be sure real quick. Little over-the-cap action. If you guys ever want to know contract stuff, they're a great resource. But if you cut him next year, you only save $500,000. Now, if you post-June 1 cut him, you save $1.9 million, but the dead cap is still $7.4. You can cut him after next year very easily. The dead money is not that much. It's like $1.3 million, but you basically gave him a 2+1. It was 3 years, $24 million, $15 guaranteed. Kind of like the Nate Davis deal. You're kind of stuck with him for 2 years. I'm hopeful that this gets better at some point. He's too talented of a player to be this bad. But I would sit him back, don't start him for a couple weeks, and see if some other guys can be more productive. Subscribe and join us because we go live every Monday and Thursday. That's when we answer your questions with these mailbags. So if you want to be a part of them, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and join the Nota Gang. That way you know when we go live and when we publish content here on the channel. So rock and roll with us all season long. Edward, if in 3 games Flus gets fired, who replaces him? In 3 games? Like say they fire him at the bye week? This is just a hunch, especially if the offense is still struggling. I don't think they would give Waldron that opportunity. I think it would be one of 2 people if I had to guess. One, Richard Hightower, the special teams coordinator, who's been with this regime from the beginning. I think he could handle the game day operation stuff. He still handles special teams. Or 2, Eric Washington, the DC, who's not calling plays right now. The problem with that is if you fire Flus, someone's going to have to call plays, which would probably be Washington. Do you want him to go from a DC that doesn't call plays to a head coach that does? That's a lot of responsibilities changing quickly. So I think I would give it to Richard Hightower. And another reason I'd give it to Hightower, there's no risk of, let's just make him the head coach. Even if you have a decent interim record, you would just finish the year out and then start a coaching search. Whereas if you give it to Waldron and there's some life, you might be fooled into just making him the permanent guy. I don't think that's a route you'd want to go. If you're firing Flus, you would want to do a full search. If you want to enter Waldron, fine. But, I would make Hightower the acting head coach. Waldron keeps running the offense. Washington takes over, fully running the defense, and you go from there. With Dre Day, are we seriously looking at 5 wins here? I don't think so. I still got to think this thing's going to improve. It'd be one thing if you were getting blown out, but this defense is going to keep you in games. It just is. So I don't think 5, 6 or 7 though. If this offense can't find balance and can't improve, it's going to be tough when the back half of the schedule gets here. I mean, let's be real. 6 games against the Packers, Vikings, and Colts. You're going to be an underdog in all 6 of those based on how you're playing right now. It's at best, you're 2-4 in those based on how you're playing, 1-5. You've got to get better, and you got to get better fast, and you got to win some of these games coming up because the schedule gets tougher down the stretch. So, all of a sudden, Seattle, I'd pick Seattle to beat the Bears day after Christmas. They're 3-0. I don't care who they've played. 3-0. It's not like the Bears' schedule has been murderer's row here. So, I think 5, it's too early to be holy shit, we're going to go 5-12, but it's not great right now, man. It's not great. Get yourself a Caleb Williams jersey. He's the reason why you hope it's not going to be 5-12 because I do think he's progressing. Chatsports.com/Caleb. Get that link in the comments and description for you guys. Click and shop today. You can get the navy, the white, the orange, a couple other options and items in there as well at that link. Chatsports.com/Caleb. All right, Savage Gorillas. Why is Morgan? I don't know why I didn't. Gorilla can be spelled that way. Different definition. Why is Chris Morgan the running game coordinator when he never played the position? Semo as an offensive line coach has not been ranked in the top ever in his coaching career. I don't know what the Semo thing is. I can't figure it out. It's pretty bizarre when you fire your offensive coordinator and most of his staff, and the guy you keep is the offensive line coach when you were known for not having good offensive lines in those 2 years under Luke Getsy, and you promote him to run game coordinator, and your running game immediately plummets. I don't get it. Is he easy to work with? Do the players like him? Clearly they kept him for a reason. I just don't know what the reason is. I did a video earlier on Monday of changes Matt Eberflus could make to save his job. I think firing Chris Morgan, or at least stripping him of that run game title and letting Thomas Brown take over in that regard, is something I would do immediately because whatever he's doing is not working. Josue Rivera, have you had time to go back and look at the tape? Do we know how long Caleb held on to the ball? I felt like he held on to a little long someplace. O-line is the main problem. I will say this. I saw a PFF stat that said Caleb Williams has 68 dropbacks where his time to throw is less than 2.5 seconds, most in the NFL. That means 2 things. 1, he's getting the ball out fast. 2, pressure's getting to him fast. O-line's not holding up. So that's obviously a problem. I watched a couple clips on tape because I was curious on that strip sack. Did they have a shot play opportunity there? It was actually more of an intermediate. It was like a deep hook to Roma Dunze that he was about to fire right as he was coming out of his break. And if you put it on him, it would have been about 20 yards. That's unfortunate. But he's been getting rid of the ball pretty fast. Of course, plays here and there, like the pick to the sideline. Clearly, he held it too long and panicked. You just got to take a sack there or throw it in the dirt. But, I think for the most part, he's actually making pretty quick decisions. Who you got in week 4. Pretty big game for both teams. Both teams 1-2. You don't want to fall to 1-3. CHI for the Bears, LAR for the Rams. Be tough to pick against the Rams after that comeback against San Francisco. I know they're beat up right now, but Stafford and McVay versus Eberflus and Caleb. Be tough to go against Stafford and McVay, but we'll see what happens. DC Viper, can we please admit Poles is another pace, bad at wasting draft picks on trading? The Montez Sweat trade is good. The one with the Panthers is one of the biggest lopsided trades of all time, even if Caleb just ends up being okay. I think you're caught up on Claypool there. Drafting bad players in his free agent has been awful. Free agency's been hit and miss. The first year when they tried to get some cheap guys just to field the team, none of them panned out pretty much. DeAndre Swift early doesn't look like a good one. So, yeah, free agency's been hit and miss, but that's kind of free agency. If you look across the league, a lot of free agent deals don't work out. I would blow it all up if things don't change. I think, and we're going to talk about Poles if you're watching live in a minute, I think Poles has done enough to earn the right to hire a second coach, but he's not blameless. He's absolutely not blameless. Marshall, maybe bring up some O-linemen from the practice squad. You got Jake Curran down there. Who else you got? I know Tyree Carter got picked up by another team. You got backups on the 53. You could try Bill Murray. You could try Kiran Amegadjie if they feel like he's ready. They've already gone to Matt Pryor for Nate Davis. So, yeah, you could try a lot of things. I think a lot of it's scheme issue, but guys look like they've taken a step back too. Like Tevin Jenkins, regardless of the scheme, regardless of this and that, he looks like a player who has taken a step back. And that's unfortunate for Bears fans. That's unfortunate for him as he's trying to cash in and get a contract. Through 3 games, there's no possibility the Bears would extend him right now. And he's been fully healthy. That's been the positive because that's been the biggest negative up to this point. But now he's not playing as well, and that's concerning. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HGramNFL. You can hit me up in the DMs. DMs always open. I'm posting over there some Bears NFL content as well. So show some love at HGramNFL, and we'll talk some more Bears ball over there.